Okay, let's start with a really big question. How does a nation pay for its most ambitious dreams? The huge, game changing projects that define its future, especially when money's tight. Let's dive right in.
It's a massive question, isn't it? Every country has these grand plans, gleaming new cities, super fast transport, a booming economy. But visions like that, they need capital, a lot of it. So where does that money actually come from? Well, let's look at one specific and frankly, really inspiring case study. All right, so first up, we're looking at Bangladesh. This is a nation with an incredibly bold vision. It wants to graduate from its current economic status and become a truly competitive middle-income economy. We're talking about a massive leap forward. But of course, there's a catch, a major hurdle. To make that huge leap, Bangladesh needs infrastructure on a scale it has never, ever seen before. Think new ports, modern power grids, massive transit systems. The problem? There's a huge funding gap, and it's only getting worse with all these growing financial pressures. It really all comes down to one question. Where do you find the money? Well, what if I told you the answer might be hiding in plain sight? Turns out there's this massive, completely untapped river of cash that flows into the country every single year. And the scale of it? It's just staggering. $21 billion. Get your head around that number for a second. That's how much money the Bangladeshi diaspora, we're talking over 10 million people living and working all over the world, sends home every single year. This isn't just a little extra cash, it's a monumental economic force. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Look at where that money is going right now. See that huge chunk of the pie? That's going to household consumption. Supporting families, paying bills, which is absolutely vital. But then look at that tiny little sliver right there. That represents structured investment. Just imagine, what if we could make that sliver just a little bit bigger? What if we could channel even a fraction of that $21 billion into building the nation? The potential is absolutely enormous. And that brings us to the core idea, to the financial tool that's designed to turn all that potential into a reality. It's a way to transform pure patriotism into what economists like to call patient capital. That's money that's invested for the long, long haul. And that tool is the diaspora bond. It's such a beautifully simple concept when you break it down. A country basically turns to its citizens abroad and says, hey, you want to invest in the future of your home. It then sells these special bonds just to them, raising money for very specific, tangible projects, like that new bridge or that much-needed power plant. So you might be asking, why would someone actually buy one? Well, it works on a few different levels. First, there's what's called the patriotic premium. An investor might be okay with a slightly lower financial return because they get this incredible emotional return of helping build their home country. Second, these bonds are backed by the government, which gives them a real sense of stability and trust. And finally, and this is so important, the money is almost always tied to a specific, visible project. Your investment is literally building that metro line or that coastal defense system you can see. Now, this isn't just some theory cooked up in a lab. Other countries have already tried this, and they've given us a really clear blueprint of what works, and, just as crucially, what really, really doesn't. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Look at the difference. On one side, you have Israel and India. They've raised billions with these bonds. Why? Because they built them on a solid foundation of high trust, clear rules, and projects people could actually see being completed. But then you look at Ethiopia, where the program really struggled. The reasons? Low trust, zero transparency, and really vague links between the investment and any actual outcome. The lesson here is crystal clear. So when you boil it all down, these are the non-negotiables. For a diaspora bond to have any chance of succeeding, you absolutely need these things. You have to have clear rules, total transparency about where every single dollar is going, and some good incentives to get people to participate. You also need modern, easy, and secure digital ways for people to buy these bonds, no matter where they are in the world. And above all else, people have to see the projects getting built. It all comes down to trust. Okay, so with that blueprint for success, let's bring it all back to Bangladesh. What could this future actually look like? What are the tangible, exciting, game-changing projects that this capital could build? I mean, right away, you can see the transformative potential. This isn't about small fixes. We are talking about nation-defining mega projects. Think new metro lines slicing through Dhaka's impossible traffic, brand new deep-sea ports to supercharge trade, a huge shift to renewable energy with solar parks and modern smart power grids. This is the big stuff.
And it gets even more personal and impactful than that. This funding could go towards building affordable housing in cities, or, even more critically, it could finance cyclone-resilient communities along the coast and build flood-resistant developments. These are the kinds of projects that don't just build an economy, they save lives. They have a powerful, powerful emotional pull.
This quote from the source material just sums it all up so perfectly. Diaspora bonds are a way to bridge that physical distance between citizens and their homeland and to channel their immense pride directly into real, tangible, lasting progress. It's just an incredibly powerful idea.
And so that leaves us with one final big thought to chew on. We usually think of investing in terms of stocks and returns and financial risk. But what if one of the most powerful, untapped assets in the entire world isn't financial at all, but emotional? What if patriotism, when you structure it the right way, is actually the world's next great investment?